Memorable moments happened in 2022. The Tupelo Community Theater took the time to remember much more than just a year. They reflected on all of its past years as the building turned 110 years old this year.
Hey guys, I was making a video earlier and one of the questions that came was, where did Elvis Presley watch his movies? Was there a cinema in Tupelo where he grew up? He lived in Tupelo until he was 13 and spent his whole childhood there. So then that made me look into whether or not there was a cinema in Tupelo near where he grew up, and there was. And it's a very famous cinema called the Lyric Cinema, which also is known as a haunted cinema that's been there since 1912 and used to be called the Kuma Cinema. And it's had a few name changes and it's had a lot of history and eventually became a cinema. So I think in 1935 it became a cinema. So this would have been Elvis's childhood cinema through the 1940s. So then I came across an interview with a very close friend of Elvis when he was just 10, 11 years old, called Sam Bell.
Tupelo is the King's birthplace. Sam Bell once told me about some of the fond memories he and Elvis shared.
It was segregated, you know. So one side, he'd go in the white side, he'd buy some popcorn, and I'd go in the black side. But when we got upstairs, they had a little banner there and just separated the races, and he just crossed over there. So we'd sit in the aisle instead of using the seat. We sit in the aisle and we watch all the westerns and all that.
I found a couple of interviews from Sam Bell. I've also found some news clips about the Lyric Cinema, and then this made me start looking into Tupelo. So there's some pictures and footage where Elvis had his talent contest at the age of 10, where he came 5th, and also just different places that Elvis went to in Tupelo, like where he purchased his first guitar. His mother bought that for him for $7.90. And just driving past the Lyric Cinema, just different little clips in Tupelo that I found whilst doing my hunting. And one of the things that came out, that Elvis actually used to sneak into the cinema with his friends. And in those days, there was segregation. So you had the coloured community had to sit on one side and the white people on the other side. And Elvis would just jump over the barrier to sit with his friends that were not white, but so close with them. And Sam Bell clearly speaks about this in his interview. So I'm just going to post this video with the video footage that I found and some more and some pictures, and just let me know what you think of it. But Elvis did have a cinema in Tupelo with masses of history, and obviously he was just a young boy and everything was new to Elvis, just excited to be alive. And Elvis did truly love being a member of the Tupelo community. Thanks, guys.
We stop in there and get that penny candy, and then we go down to the Lyric Theater. And there we had our fun at that theater. It's still there on Broadway. And you only had a white section and a black section. And my brother was when he was in high school, that's the work he had after school. He cleaned that theater. So the man that owned the theater, they got to be real close. But we thought we were sneaking in. He'd go on the white side, and I'd go on the black side. And the blacks would only sit upstairs. And they had a partition up there. The whites sat over there too, but the blacks had a section too, but they just had a partition. You could step over it. And we sneak in on the black side. He thought he was sneaking in on the white side. We all thought we were sneaking in, but he knew what we were doing. And then as soon as we get up there, he'd come on over and climb on over. And we sit in the aisle and watch all the movies and westerns and all that. And he'd look out through there with a projector coming out. He'd see us sitting down there. But we thought we was getting away with something, because we buy some 10-cent popcorn and we thought we had a fare. Thought wasn't nobody looking, we duck on in. So one day he told us, he said, y'all, you know what, y'all thought y'all were really getting away with something. He said, but I knew what you were doing. He said, as long as you didn't occupy a seat, it was all right. So he let us stay there. We sit in the aisle and watch all those movies.